entering company information. We would access company information tabs by clicking company info. And then from this page, you would enter your corporate name, corporate company name, your doing business as name, if different, and the address, complete address, with state, zip code, and your county. And then you would enter your company website if you have one. Enter your, if you highlight there, you would see it's your federal employer identification number, your phone number, an alternate phone number, your fax number, and click on the icon. It will be your motor vehicle repair registration certificate number. And then we come back over here and click on the labor rates and other charges. And you look at here, you would charge what you would charge for towing, for the pickup, and then how much you would charge per mile. This is for your storage charges and when the storage charges would start to accumulate. For instance, here it's $50 plus per day, and it starts after 5 days from when the vehicle is finished. Now, do you have a tow truck? Yes or no? Does your shop offer pickup and delivery services? Yes or no? And would the vehicle be driven or towed? And is there a charge for that service? Labor rates that your shop will charge. You have 3 different labor rates you could use, and you could have them, all 3 of them, active. And you would enter the rate per hour, then the shop charge in a percentage, and if you're going to have a credit card charge. And then you could have on your second rate, you could have different labor rates and shop charge in a dollar amount limit. And the same thing with the credit card charge. And the rate 3 would be just for a labor rate and a shop charge if you want. Now, for the markups, we have aftermarket parts. You choose either a percentage or a dollar amount markup, and you can choose areas for dollar amounts and how much of a percentage of that dollar amount would be marked up. And then you could select here from the drop down menu and mark up parts to the MSRP, only up to the company markup that you put in the boxes above, and or the markup parts to the MSRP if it's higher than the company markup. Now you would do the same thing for the original equipment parts, for tires, for batteries, for different service providers, and for general vendor. And then you would round your markups to whatever you wanted to. For this instance, it says rounds up to 99 cents. Go to the additional info page, and the default incrementing for your estimate starts at 1,000 and goes up from there. And your work orders, for this instance, we started at 5544 and we had 6 employees. How long is the estimate going to be good for? You can select that for how many days you want, or it could be just for the day that you made the estimate. The maximum service writer can discount a ticket. You put in a percentage here of whatever you wanted them to have. Over here you have your end-of-day reports, where they will be sent. You have an email address. You can add more email addresses. And then down here, you would have a phone number where text messages or messages would be sent with that end-of-day report in it. Over on this side, we have our location report and where it would be saved to when it's saved. And we can also see here our time reports of when you want computers to be active and when you want them to be able to be utilized. Payroll location of where the payroll QuickBooks files will end up being sent, and you would select the location there and of the file location where it would be saved. Your work week, you would have your first day of the work week and when your last day of the work week and what your pay date is. And you could have it the following weeks is you would get paid, for instance, every 2 weeks. Now, you could set your default hours of your shop as it is set here. It's Monday through Saturday, and you could add Sunday here if you need to. The list page is showing you what the program would use for the different items, header types that you see here. The customer payment methods and the types of payments, you can add an additional if you need to. Same thing with referred by, different items. You can add possibly another referenced the customer to you. Commercial account terms, COD, net 10, weekly. You can add whatever you want. And then down below is your first day of the billing cycle for commercial accounts and the late after how many days, and then what you would charge for a late fee. Vendor terms, this would be the terms of your vendors that you utilize and how you would end up paying them. Some want COD, and you might have a vendor account that you would pay on their terms. Different types of vendors. You can add another type if you need to. Your work order statuses, and you can see those will already be in there, but you can add a different status if you wanted to have that. User groups. User groups are the people that will have access to certain parts of the computer, as we will see later on in permissions, and we would set up the different names of the user groups for your employees. Over here, specialties. For instance, if you only want to specialize in one particular type of vehicle, or just in exhaust, or just in whatever you do, you're just a machine shop, whatever you want to do, or all of these specialties will be in the system, and you can remove them or add more as needed. The content placeholder is what would be on the work order and other forms that would have the customer's name, make, model, year, and model, and then the different types of accounts that you utilize, credit cards, checking, savings, and so forth. You can add more if you need to. The QuickBooks Banking tab is how the different types of, this is what the suggested name is. You can put in whatever name you want to for those particular items. For instance, here in the checking, that is your bank. So that's where the funds would be deposited to account, and you would put in the name of your bank there. Now, in order to have the bank set up, you have to come to this box, and you would enter your banking information, for instance, a checking account, credit card number, or savings account, and then enter the bank name, account name, and account number and routing numbers, and then save, and then that will be there for your access for later use. Invoice locations where they would be saved when they're scanned in. Also, how do you want your QuickBooks file to be saved, and a folder name of where it would be saved on a local storage, or you could get cloud storage. And how do you want to save your vendor invoices? That would be the same, local or cloud storage, and a folder name. And do you want it mandatory for the vendor receipts to be scanned in if you have a scanner hooked to your system? And you could say yes or no. And then exporting your QuickBooks files. And this shows the export button for you. And the last time that an export was made was on 5/4, and this would be today's date, or you could select a date when to export it. Now, exporting by groups. These groups are basically set differently and grouped differently ever how you want to group them for showing up on your QuickBooks forms. Permissions. This is what I was talking about, the user groups. This is the list of your user groups. Obviously, admin has access to all of these items, so they don't list the admin here, but any other user groups, you would select the item and either select or deselect certain items for giving them access on the computer. Software program. Integrated information systems. You would have add new for entering all data, ProDemand, or any other information system that you have connected to the program. And these are the two major ones, is AllData and ProDemand. And you would add new, you would enter the account name, website, the username and password, and click save, and it will list it here for you. Sales tax. These are the different types of sales tax that the system tracks for you for your FET on tires and batteries, and what taxing agency collects that for you. And same thing with sales tax. There's 3 different sales taxes, for instance, state, city and town, or whatever you have at your location. Now, shown in the drop down, it shows Florida here, but we already have Florida entered. What you need to do to have your taxing agency is you need to set up your account and enter the information here with the tax agency's website, your tax ID, username, and password. And I would suggest you test the account to make sure it works and save, and it will show your listing of your taxing agency down here and also put them in these drop downs for you. The signature and signature phone and the email on here is for the person that would be responsible or assigned to that taxing agency. Once you're done entering any information, you would click on save. It would take you back to the main page. And that's it for sales tax and entering company info.